Development problems in Indian society. Introduction. Dear students, the word development is heard all around us in different contexts. We hear of child development, fees for development of the school infrastructure, etc. We also hear about new cities, airports, industries, etc. being developed. So, the word development is very common to all of us. We know that it means advancement or something new coming up from the old. When we hear something is being developed, we have the notion that it is for the betterment of the society and people. But we do not think about the consequences of this development. Like a coin has two sides, similarly, development also has two sides, its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are very visible to us. Indian society, as we know, has changed and developed, which has made us a strong contender in the global market. Along with it, we also hear for the rise in the price of all our commodities, pollution, and recently about global warming, and about how we need to save our planet. These are all due to the rapid development that has happened all around us without thinking about the consequences and about how to counteract these consequences. So, today we will be learning more about these two sides, particularly on the problems arising because of development of society in India. Meaning of development. Development is a slow change from a simpler or lower to a more advanced, mature, or complex form or stage. It is a process, not a level, and a path to achieve certain goals. It can also be defined as a process of social change by an increase of awareness and willingness to change for the better. Hence, one can say that when a society senses new and better opportunities for its progress, it develops new forms of organization to exploit these new openings. So, development is the result of society's capacity to organize human energies and productive resources in order to meet the challenges and opportunities it presents to the society. Society thus passes through a well-defined stage in the course of its development. They are nomadic hunting and gathering, rural, agrarian, urban, commercial, industrial, and post-industrial societies. Though the use of the term development is usually confined to economic progress, in reality, the term applies to political, social, and technological progress as well. All these various sectors of society are so intertwined that it is difficult to neatly separate them. Development in Indian society. India is the dominant country in the subcontinent. It is the world's second most populous country in the world. But before independence, India was a country which relied heavily on agriculture. It was its main source of income. People depended on agriculture for their livelihood. After independence, this remained much the same. Even today, India ranks second worldwide in agricultural output. Recently, India has developed a rapidly growing agricultural biotech sector. Although India has developed many modern and innovative measures of farming, the agricultural sector in India, it remains synonymous with poverty. The majority of India's farmers learn less by growing rice on tiny family-owned plots. During the British rule, not much development happened. The Britishers were more interested in using India as a means to improve their country, which left India even poorer. After India's independence, one can say that British control left a lasting impact on India, in many ways impeding India's development in some sector. Before independence, India was a country which relied heavily on agriculture. Although there was a relatively large manufacturing sector in some parts of the country, it was mainly in the form of small scale local enterprises such as spinning, weaving, and woodwork industries. These businesses served their local people, but not to a larger section of people. After independence, this remained much the same. Even today, India ranks second worldwide in agricultural output. Post independence, the Indian private sector began its attempt to expand. Technology has been one of the main reasons of India's industrial development. Mining and other energy have pushed industrialization in India since independence. This has also led to the industrialization of many cities in India. India is also involved in the production of oil and gas. Industrialization in India has probably been the country's main development since independence in 1947. This vast industrialization has also led to changes in the country's population dispersion and settlement patterns. Population dispersion patterns have changed drastically since India's independence. Although India has always had a large population, settlement patterns were a lot different under British rule. During that time, most of India's working class lived in the countryside in small, nucleated farming settlements. Under the caste system, which was heavily followed in India pre independence, these working classes would have been kept away from the upper classes that generally lived in the cities or in large estates. Since independence, however, there was a massive change in the population and settlement dynamics of India. As industrialization and modernization became, so too did large scale urbanization. In the present scenario, India is 10th in the world in factory output. Manufacturing sector, in addition to mining, quarrying, electricity and gas, together account for 27.6% of the GDP and employ 17% of the total workforce. Economic reforms introduced after 1991 brought foreign competition that led to privatization of certain public sector industries, opened up sectors hitherto reserved for the public sector, and led to an expansion in the production of fast moving consumer goods. The Indian market offers endless possibilities for investors now because of economic liberalization. Countries outside India have started offshoring their work to India as the labor cost is less here than compared to the other countries. Hence, new foreign companies are opening their offices in India, which in turn is helping in the economy of India. This has helped in the development of India. Problems due to development in Indian society. Many of the people who had previously been laboring on the country's farms began migrating to the cities at unprecedented levels. They moved to the cities in search of work in the new factories and various industries. Also, they went in search of a better standard of living. Hence, the development brought advancement in the Indian society, but it also brought about many problems into the society. Developmental induced displacement. Rapid development in India is forcing communities and individuals to move out of their homes, often also their homelands, making them migrants. This type of displacement has been associated with the construction of dams for hydroelectric power and irrigation purposes and mining. Displacements of people happen for construction of airports, industrial plants, weapon testing grounds, railways, and road developments. Development induced displacement is a social problem affecting multiple levels of human organization, from tribal and village communities to well developed urban areas. The number of people forcibly displaced each year is also increasing. During the last 2 decades of the 20th century, development uprooted more than 10 million people each year. By contrast, during the first decade of the 21st century, an estimated 15 million people were displaced by development each year. They become homeless and their livelihood also suffers. They are made to feel weak and helpless. They feel that they are migrants when they are moved to another place. It takes them years to settle down in their new environment. Other problems faced by the displaced people are food insecurity, undernourishment, and hunger. There is a serious decline in health. There is an increase in morbidity, stress, and psychological trauma. This is a very serious issue in India, which has risen up because of the rapid urbanization and industrialization. Poverty. Due to advancements in industries and use of machines, many people have lost their jobs and have become unemployed. These people are not able to get any other work as they are not qualified or educated. Their main source of income is gone due to development in industries. With their agricultural lands being acquired for development purpose, absence of sufficient manure, lack of modern machines for cultivating their lands have left the rural people with poverty. Hence, poverty is an everyday sight in India. Poverty in India is widespread, with the nation estimated to have a third of the world's poor. Many of the country's poor live in the slum areas of the major cities. These slums lack even basic amenities such as proper sewage or running water. The poor people also get exploited because of being illiterate and are forced to live in a dirty environment. Therefore, India's poverty has led to huge levels of disease amongst its population. Diseases such as cholera and typhoid are commonplace in slum areas. The environment and pollution. With the development in India, the environment is changing drastically. All spheres of environment have been affected. The environment is something which every country must strive to sustain. However, for a country as large as India, this can be a major problem. Not only in dealing with atmospheric pollution, but also the damage that is being done to India's natural lands. Air pollution, water pollution, garbage, and pollution of the natural environment are all challenges for India. Growing population exerts pressure on agricultural land, causing environmental degradation and forcing the cultivation of land of poorer and poorer quality. This environmental degradation ultimately reduces agricultural yields and food availability, causes famines and diseases and death, thereby reducing the rate of population growth. Major environmental issues is forest and agricultural degradation of land resource depletion. Air pollution and carbon emissions have become a major cause for concern in India as it has become industrialized. Most of these carbon emissions are coming from factories and industry. However, a large portion is coming from the country's waste as it degrades in landfill. Air pollution is becoming a major problem in many of India's cities. These huge levels of air pollution in India is due to the fact that many still burn huge amounts of fossil fuels such as coal. Recycling is a major issue in India. The dumping of waste in landfill has also contributed to the damage to the environment. The waste has been dumped off in empty landfills for so many years. These wastes do not get mixed in the soil and start degenerating, thereby causing many health problems. India is also facing water pollution. Most of India's water pollution is the result of industry and poor sewerage in urban areas. In city and villages, rivers are used as open drainage, and as such, garbages like animal carcasses and industrial wastes are dumped. These rivers are also used to bath and even drink from, resulting in huge levels of diseases. Some sources even say that India's water pollution problem is so bad that 70% of available water in India is contaminated. Ecological degradation. Ecological degradation is the deterioration of the environment through depletion of resources such as air, water, and soil, the destruction of ecosystems, and the extinction of wildlife. The developmental activities of man, such as road construction, dam, mining activities, and the acquisition of farmland, have helped in the degradation of the ecology. Natural resources are also being exploited. Indira Gandhi's interpretation was that the real conflict was not between environment and development, but between the environment and reckless exploitation by man in the name of development. This interference of man on nature has resulted in this degradation, which is leading to disasters and irreparable damages to the natural balance of the ecosystem. For centuries, forests and people are living together by complementing each other, the latter deriving their livelihood from the former, who in turn maintain the ecological balance and environmental quality together with conservation of soil and water. The forest helps in maintaining the flow of perennial springs, in bringing rain, in keeping the soil and water conserved, and preventing landslides, thereby giving protection from this natural calamity. It also helps to maintain the fertility of the soil, control droughts and floods, and preserve wildlife. The massive deforestation in the Himalayan region is an important factor in ecological degradation. Due to this, there is a non availability of certain species, soil erosion, loss of wildlife, fodder, food. Due to this, one can find recurrent floods and drying up of springs and seasonal streams. Deforestation all over India has also resulted in the global warming and change in the climatic conditions. Deforestation in a region is due to the development in that region. This development can be building roads, dams, etc. Consumerism. Consumer is a person or group of people who are the final users of products and services generated within a social system. A consumer may be a person or group such as a household. Consumerism may be regarded as a social and economic order that encourages the purchase of goods and services in ever greater amounts. It is a concept that an ever expanding consumption of goods is advantageous to the economy. Consumerism is an economic policy that states that the market is shaped by the choice of consumers. Consumerism in India is more to do with lust than limited to needs. We are now easily confusing the things with what we need and what we want. We think that if we work hard, we deserve nice things. But stuffing penalty of nice things which we really do not need deprive the other consumers from the things they require for their survival. India is facing many problems due to this attitude of problem. One can hear about hikes in the fuel on a regular basis. There are food shortages also. Due to the shortage of fuels and food and an increasing demand for them, there is a rise in the cost of these commodities. The wastage of the commodities in the Indian society is very high. Regular consumers seek to copy those who are above them in social hierarchy. The poor strive to imitate the wealthy, and the wealthy imitate celebrities and other icons. Children from the lower strata want a job with a high salary compared with children from affluent classes, and they are the main victims of consumerism. In consumer society of the day now, people replace their goods with newer ones, use them and throw them away. The question of repair does not arise. People have money to purchase goods in plenty. The success of a consumer society is measured with the rate of production, purchase, and consumption. The society is considered to be progressing if all above elements are present there. Consumerism has also resulted in ecological imbalances. The natural habitat is being destroyed to create more goods and build more buildings which are affecting the weather. Global warming has become a major concern. Indirectly, consumerism is also increasing industrial pollution. Crisis of values. Another problem faced in Indian society is the crisis of values. Traditionally, people used to think more about other people and society's welfare more than their own welfare. Their sole aim then was work for the betterment of the society at large. Now, all the strivings are at the individual level, and it has become more of attainment for personal success. It is a worldly success, defined in purely materialistic terms as acquisition of money, power, and prestige. A related dimension of the value crisis is the increasing respectability of selfish individualism. It takes the form of exclusive concern for personal gains without any consideration for the common good. People have become more selfish and think of themselves first and then about others. Their upbringing and the new culture have tuned them for single-minded pursuit of career growth and economic success. All other life values which give meaning, worth, and fullness to human existence are seen as roadblocks and unnecessary diversions from the high road to material success. There is a sharp fall of standards all around. The careless disregard for the common man's interest, the increasing hypocrisy and double talk, and it has cumulatively caused a deterioration that is truly described as alarming. There is an all round race for the plush seats in office and power, and it has become a source of the greatest human exploitation. People want to ride the seats of power, not to serve people, not to use funds for the benefit of common people and the development of the country, but to secure greater commissions for personal use and building up huge personal assets. The accumulation of wealth by all possible means, fair and foul, fair less and foul more, has become the order of the day. Everyone, whether he is a government or a private official, businessman or a shopkeeper, everyone, now be it a taxi driver or a doctor or a lawyer or anyone, will not lose the opportunity to exploit the people for personal gain. People are losing their social conscience in this run to acquire material gains. This deadening of social consciousness has reduced our sensitivity to a variety of social evils like poverty, injustice, exploitation, castes, class, and gender equalities, etc. Conclusion. As a conclusion, one can say that it is good to develop, but not at the cost of others. Development is needed for the betterment of the society and for the people to enjoy good things in life and to make life easier for them. Without development, man would have been primitive and the life would have been like the primitive people. But development has helped man to grow and get the best of life. We as men like to enjoy the goodness of life, but we do not think about the consequences that arise due to development. New modern methods are things that are being invented and developed. Development is a continuous process. We cannot stop development, but we can try to minimize the consequences that are happening in our society and not endanger our society, but become more social conscious and less of self conscious.